Today I wanted to try my hand at a brand new series, a new character that's new to me, and for the character requests to continue this series, there's so many characters I have to get to, and Rango, I wanted to put myself to the test and challenge myself with a brand new character in a movie I haven't seen before until recently, and I'm late to getting into the movie in the series compared to everybody else who probably already seen this movie maybe several times or they already watched it when it came out. And I didn't know who Rango was, and that's just something I like doing this kind of series. It's not about them being revealed. It's not about them being available now and being added into the game. This is just a series to talk about how I think these characters can play for you guys and some of the characters that y'all want to see in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 now that that game is something real. And there's so many characters that belong and they can probably get access to now that this game is bigger and better than ever, and it's completely different from this game. It's going to play so different with new features and so much more. So I'm going to get into a character named Rango, and just again, I was brand new to this. I wanted to really get to know this character, watch the movie, watch clips, and try to make ideas make sense for how I think he can play. And I have a couple questions, or maybe this main question in particular, before I even throw this out here. The character is voiced by Johnny Depp, and with all the things that's been going on with him, I'm thinking they're probably going to have to get someone else. They're probably going to have to get a different voice actor. And let me just say this, is for me, I don't care who voices the character. There's a such thing called new talent, and even some of these other games and other platform fighters, certain characters got revealed in those games and became playable characters, and they had different voice actors playing the character or voicing them. So I think Rango could be one of them if they can get access to him, or if they choose to go after him for future DLC. Maybe it could be in season 1, maybe in the next season, and however long they choose to keep on going and going. I hope they continue to bring more. So I just put a character that's green on the screen for like the turtles, for example. And it was one particular character that's from the TMNT that allowed me to put together some of my ideas for Rango. And I'm going to get into that later on in the video. And just as usual, you do not have to watch the full video. I'm not sure how long this is going to be, but I want to share all my ideas and everything that I came up with for Rango, how I think he can play. It's just going to be in the description as usual, just with all the other character requests and for y'all request videos that y'all have seen from the first game and now with this new game. He could definitely be Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 DLC. Hopefully, maybe, we don't know if it's a possibility. What do you guys think? Does he have a chance to get into the game? Let me know what you guys think. And this other particular question, outside of Johnny Depp being the voice actor, if they can get him to voice him, I don't think that's probably going to happen. Just again, but Rango uses a gun in this movie. And are they going to bring guns to the table when it comes to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl being a family game and something you can enjoy, you can take to the competitive level if you want, if you practice and things like that? Rango uses a gun in the movie. It's a revolver. And I use that as one of his main offense to come up with a moveset for him and to make it make sense because of the movie setting in the Western style. So a little bit of a backstory. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to play that, utilize that unless they give him something else to fight with for Rango's case. But Rango is a chameleon who was initially part of a family, a human family in the movie, and they're only seen for a brief period in the beginning of the movie, and then the rest of the movie setting is completely, it takes place in a different location, but I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But about Rango, after this crazy car accident, it sends him flying out of his tank, and he was riding along with this family that he was part of, and he was a pet to this family. And I guess they were taking a road trip, who knows? I don't know where their destination was or where they were headed, but it seems like a family road trip or some kind of family vacation in the beginning. And from this car accident, basically changed Rango's life, basically forever, and basically just through the entire movie, where his adventure starts from this car accident. And this that accident himself allowed him to venture into his own life and try to survive, and living without water and trying to survive, things like that. But he got stranded in the middle of a desert after this car accident. And when you watch this movie, or the clips and things like that, he later arrives into a town known as Dirt, where he becomes the new sheriff. So, just in a nutshell, that's just the little story of Rango. After this car accident, he ends up winding up in this town, and he didn't even know who he was and things like that. And he ended up finding out the true person of his character's personality from you watch this movie, and being this hero and taking on this heroic persona as a sheriff. He's not really heroic. He's not really a sheriff, and his name isn't really Rango. It's just something that he picked up and came up with. But you'll see this when you go and watch this movie for Rango if you haven't seen it. So he comes up with this name and pretends to be a hero, and acts tough and things like that. It's really good. It's a really good movie, and I'm really glad that I got it a chance to check it out after all this time. So I definitely recommend it. But that's just a little bit of his backstory, and as you watch more and more, he becomes a hero to this town and being the new sheriff in town, and really defending the Dirtonians, who are the citizens of this town, or this Western style, and they are also without water. So you'll be able to see how everything turns out when you watch all the different characters that he runs into and more. But that's just his backstory I wanted to explain. I didn't want to just jump right into the ideas. Just as usual, I love talking about the backstory and sharing what I found out about the character, getting to know them and watching how they act. But now it's time for the stages. Now we're going to start sharing some ideas for Rango. And just like I finished talking about this western town called Dirt, this is the main setting. This western town is the main setting from the movie, the town of Dirt. And I think this stage can definitely be the stage they'll go for if he gets into the game as some kind of surprise DLC. And this western town is located in the Mojave Desert. So I thought this place seems to be more suitable for his character, and since he's the new sheriff of this town. So this will be definitely his stage for sure, just an all-in-one. And just some other additional ideas that I threw in outside of just this one stage. The other Dirtonians that he meets in this movie, or his other friends that he meets in this movie from other characters, could be in the background. Angelique, Beans, Priscilla, the mayor, and then even the main antagonist, Rattlesnake Jake, could probably have some kind of unique appearances popping in and popping out in the background. So I thought that'll be a nice little touch for a background design for his town, for the town of Dirt, and the other Dirtonians to be in the background rooting for him, and in their little Western style outfits, things like that. So now we're going to start talking about the costumes that I came up with. And one thing that I wanted to share before I start getting into the main costumes that I found out, and just from watching and doing some digging and research, chameleons have the ability to transform. And this is something that I also used to have different colors and many colors and blending in. This is another idea that I came up with later for his moveset that you guys will be able to find out today. And something I wanted to do for a little bit, some kind of unique idea and exclusive. Rango is not going to be free. I don't think he is. Rango as paid DLC, when you purchase this DLC, he can have some kind of chameleon exclusive customization items as a chameleon, because Rango is shown to have green scaly skin, but when you get him, you can change its color. Who I want to use? I always do this. I always use Reptar for this. It's the perfect example. See how he's a different color? They could do the same thing for Rango, but exclusive customization options where Rango can have multiple colors and the player can switch between a variety of different colors to change Rango's skin. So something that can make him worth the bang for the buck, outside of just having the character in the stage, these kind of customization options can unlock just for him. Changing his color of his skin. Let's keep this up for a little bit. Similar to how Reptar has this one, this color purple. And then when you watch this in the beginning of the movie, he's seen wearing this red Hawaiian shirt. So that could be one of his alternate costumes. And since he's the new sheriff, I put Sheriff Rango. So once he becomes the new sheriff of this town of Dirt, his clothing was a white button-up shirt, dark gray pants, dark brown vest with a silver sheriff badge, and a tan hat. A tan little cowboy hat. And then he also wears a dark brown hat and a brown poncho later in the movie. So those could be his alternate costumes. And then you'll also be able to customize his skin color. So not only just changing his clothes and the different colors, not even just a red Hawaiian shirt, maybe they can add color variations to that as well. But while you're dressing him up, see, just take a look at the bottom. So you press R1 for the shirt. You can just have that button. It's just instead of just a click of a button, they can make it a little bit better and more unique. So you could be able to customize his skin and his clothes so he can be a totally different color and be rocking a different color poncho and his vest and things like that. And you could change the color of his badge, things like that. See what I'm talking about? It could be something like that could really be unique for his costumes. So I think that would be cool for customization options. I would like to see that for other characters instead of just Rango and some of these the other fighters that get added into the game. They can really update that so it's not just a push of a button. Yeah, it's quicker, but you could be able to change the clothes and the outfit, things like that, hairstyle, depending on who you're playing as, whoever you have selected on the character selection menu. Taunts and animation. I thought this would be a funny taunt that could really be cool to see during the car crash movie scene, and you guys can look this up. When he went flying out of the car and then he looked up into the sun, his skin started to shatter and decay. So this would probably be a cool little, I could see this being an animation. Rango's skin can start decaying and he could be stuck in place in a pose like he's losing water. Because when you watch this cutscene, when he gets launched out of the back window of the car, out of his tank, his skin starts decaying and he gets thirsty, and it can have that little screen effect for his skin shattering. So it'll be a nice little taunt to really try to tease the opponent, put him in a strike a pose on the battlefield, and his skin starts decaying, similar to the animation of how they did in the movie when he was thirsty and all that stuff. That'll be a nice little taunt for his skin decay, a nice little taunt like that. And then Mr. Timms, I wanted to utilize him. Mr. Timms is his comfort object in a movie from his past, and he was also in the tank with him. So I thought that'll be something that could really be added as a nice little taunt, an alternate taunt, hugs for Mr. Timms. So it's his comfort object, and that could be utilized for the devs to utilize in for a additional taunt, an alternate taunt for him. And I didn't want to leave Mr. Timms out, and he plays a significant role in this movie. I mean, you don't see him too often, maybe in the beginning and at the end, going towards the end, but I didn't want to just not consider Mr. Timms for his taunt. So that could be something. 2 different taunts I came up with, especially that skin decay. I think that'll be a really nice animation and funny to see. And then some quotes. Just what he says in the movie. Name's Rango. And then some other ones. Who am I? I'm a nobody. And then when he brought this gun out, I will blow that ugly right off your face. He'd say something like that. And he'll have some really nice talk. It was just quotes, and his reactions and voice lines will be awesome no matter who's playing him. And then some other iconic ones that I slid in. No man can walk out of his own story. And then with his showdown, and when he had his weapon pointed at Rattlesnake Jake. I was almost forgetting his name. When he had his weapons pointing at Rattlesnake Jake, said it only takes one bullet. That could be something very iconic for him to say. Maybe when he takes you out, knocks you out, it only takes one bullet. That'll be sweet just to hear him say that. So those are just some of the voice lines that I got, the iconic quotes that I pulled into this idea for things that he could say. He could say some other things, but I wanted to keep it family friendly for the channel, things like that, because they say certain things and whatnot. So I didn't want to put those in for voice lines. So maybe he could say something of that matter. But I don't know. They probably not. If they do get Rango, they probably not gonna have him saying that in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 if he is DLC. Just to try to keep it clean. But those are the ideas I came up with for the taunts and animations. Now, my favorite part, the move set. And just like I finished explaining, that I mentioned at the beginning, how is he gonna play without his revolver? I did come up with some moves for him outside of just using his revolver or his gun, but he will be the first character with an actual firearm. Because none of these characters in this game have something like that. But Leonardo got swords, Michelangelo got nunchucks, things like that. Someone just swinging a sword, things like that. They got things like that, fire and magic, things like that. Summons, ghost energy, things like that. Maybe they can do something to make it work around Rango. So the first move I gave him is a pistol whip where Rango can swing his revolver and knock the enemy back with force. I think this would be his neutral, a nice little neutral for him. A neutral strong attack for his pistol whip. And then the next one, a standoff. I wanted to make it relative to this Western style in his weapon, just to pay tribute to the movie. So with the move standoff, Rango can focus all of his energy into one bullet that can be charged and aimed across the field, aimed across the screen and into the sky. And I wanted to bring up Hugh Neutron that I referenced with his ducks. When he throws a duck, he can throw it across the screen, he can throw it diagonally, and he can also throw it directly above his head. So Rango will be able to strike you and fire at you with his revolver in a similar fashion. But instead, since Hugh Neutron can't charge it, I wanted to give him like a charged bullet. So as he's charging up, he'll be able to deal more damage if he's using a charge shot with his standoff ability. And then I gave him some kind of a dash move or just a rushing move, because everybody has some kind of rushing or a dash move. And I was thinking a little bit of Rocco's Suck-O-Matic. And then see how Michelangelo rides a skateboard, and then Sandy says, surfs up on a surfboard. And then Lincoln Loud on the scooter. I was thinking about all those different characters coming up with this move. And in this movie, you can see these characters, or the Dirtonians, ride these road runners to travel. The road runners was their transportation on the Dusty Old Trail, or on the road, the dirt road. The road runners were used as transportation. So I utilized at least one of the road runners for Rango's moveset. So Rango can charge into enemies using one of his trusty road runners. His trusty old road runner. I think that I could see that being a move for him to be in the game. See how just Rocco rides on the Suck-O-Matic for a quick second. That could be something. And as a Chameleon, I wanted to use this move. I came up with some kind of blending technique where he can blend in, where he can camouflage himself to temporarily become invisible, and then he can avoid all damage. So just a nice little camo. It'll be different from Lucy's because she goes completely invisible. It could be something like that, but just some kind of a cloak, like a cloak, um, some kind of cloaking look for Rango, so you can still see parts of him, so you can see where you're at. So it could be something similar to Lucy's, but maybe a little bit better because he won't be able to take damage because you can't see where he is, even if you try to shoot a projectile at him, things like that. So it'll just be something temporarily where you can be invisible and invincible to avoid receiving damage, just to get away and surprise your opponent. And while you're blended in or you're camouflage, you can still be able to fire your revolver. Maybe it sounds a little bit too overpowered, but while he's camouflaged, he can still be able to shoot at you and charge up a crazy charge shot from his standoff ability to be able to surprise you. I think that'll be a nice little combo with him being able to blend in. Why not? He's a chameleon. So recovery move. Chameleons have lengthy tongues, so I thought about using this as some kind of an ideal, and he uses this in the movie where you'll be able to see it. So I called it tongue latch for his recovery. So I was thinking about Michelangelo's his recovery in this game with his grapple, but his is going to be better than Mikey's because he's going to have more range. So Rango can use his tongue to help break his fall. So I wanted to reference Michelangelo because I was thinking about his recovery. I had no idea how he was going to recover. It's like, but using his long tongue can be able to be useful into saving him. So when you're just about to fall, he can grab onto the edge. I think he can have one of the best recoveries in the game, and his is going to be better than Mikey's because he's going to have that extended range. So he'll be able to reach towards that edge or that edge of the stage to be able to save himself. And just again, every time as I do these requests for you guys, I'm now giving these characters supers because it's a new mechanic and a new move or a new feature that's in SpongeBob, Patrick, and Plankton, and all the other characters got shown so far. They're in Jimmy Neutron. We got to see a couple of their supers. So for Rango super, I came up with the Chameleon Deadeye. And it fits this Western style with a Deadeye, so he'll be able to take on all targets and be able to lock onto you. So with his Deadeye ultimate attack, or his Deadeye super move, Rango can automatically target all enemies on the field and rapidly fire several shots at all enemies on the field at once at the same time. So you go like, I can definitely see that as a nice little super for him to go crazy and get everybody on the field. You cannot escape because he's going to be able to lock onto you. So you won't be able to shield yourself, use the slime meter or something like that. You know, you're not going to be able to get away from him. And no matter where you are or no matter how far you are, he's still going to be able to get you. So that's going to make his Deadeye really crazy, and the fact that you cannot escape, and he's going to be able to fire multiple times at you. He's going to be going crazy. So just no one has a firearm in this game, so I'm not sure how they're going to make this work. And even the voice actor himself, being Johnny Depp, they don't have to get him. They can get someone else. There's new talent out there, and just a such thing as creativity, they can definitely get him into the game as maybe some kind of surprise DLC, maybe in the next season pass, maybe it's for another 4 or 5 characters. But what do you guys think his chances are getting into the game? Maybe he'll have a chance. But I had so much fun putting this together today. Just this whole new movie. I'm definitely a fan of Rango, a new fan of Rango from the movie itself, just the character. And I think he can really be dangerous. Even one of the best characters. Some of y'all want to see him in the game. Maybe some other characters. It's on Paramount. Maybe he has a chance. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. But just the one thing that, outside of just the voice actor, him having a firearm, how is that going to really work? Let's say give him some kind of laser gun or something like that. But I don't think they'll do that. It's a Western style movie. Maybe he'll have something. But Leonardo's holding a sword. He got swords. one of the sharpest weapons in the game that you can really have and give to a fighter. I'm trying to think of anybody else that got something. And then just Michelangelo with nunchucks. But Leonardo, he got them the sharpest weapons. He got swords. If they can make swords work, I'm sure they can probably make that revolver be something to be able to be deadly. Deadly in for one of his movesets. But I don't see him getting any other weapons besides that. But we'll have to see. I hope he does get considered, maybe as a surprise whenever I see him. Maybe one of the most unexpected DLC characters for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2.